Hello and welcome to Telegraph presents Bryn, Terfel and Wynne Evans. I'm Sangeeta Maiska, journalist and broadcaster, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. This event is exclusive to Telegraph subscribers and is done in association with our friends at Grange Park Opera, whose season begins on the 6th of June and finishes on the 14th of July. My personal journey in the land of opera began at Grange Park when I bought tickets to see Bryn sing Fiddler on the Roof. That was the first time I met him. Well, the last time I saw him was just a couple of days ago when he was clad head to toe in skin-tight, hot pink leather. More on that later. But first, I want to tell you a bit about our wonderful surroundings here at Metropolis Studios. These were built by Gary Langan, an extraordinary engineer and producer, and he wanted to create an environment where artists could be really creative, but also have access to state-of-the-art technology. Well, he did that, and the people that recorded here include Yes, and also Queen, and Adele, and Amy Winehouse. Now, before we get to the music and conversation, got a bit of housekeeping for you. Thank you, first of all, to everybody that submitted questions. I'm going to get to those later on. And if you have any difficulties, then please email this address to get some help. extra@telegraph.co.uk. That's extra@telegraph.co.uk. And you can make this video full screen by clicking on the square at the bottom on the right of your screen. Now, let's crack on with the rest of the evening. So, to the singing and the singers, who are going to be accompanied during this recording by Jeremy Cook on the piano. Bryn Terfel really requires very little introduction. He is one of the most adored and accomplished bass baritones our country has to offer. His ability to create characters that are vibrant and full, whether it's Mozart or Wagner or Puccini, has won him a legion of loyal fans, not least King Charles III, who invited Bryn to sing at his coronation. Again, we'll be hearing more about that later. So, Bryn, you've chosen a piece from Faust to start the evening. Why?
Well, I tend to like these misfits and malcontents of the operatic stage, and I've had my fair share of them. And there's also something quite special between the audience and a Mephistophelian character, you know, the good and the bad. And in Faust, I sang a couple of times, once at the Royal Opera House, where I did wear a sequined dress. But he's a chameleon. And it's such a wonderful character to portray, both vocally and in the kind of production. What does a director bring to that character? So the Faust L'Audor is always a great beginner in that opera for the bass baritone.
Take it away.
L'Audor est toujours debout, en sens sa puissance, en sens sa puissance, d'un bout du monde à l'autre bout, pour fêter la famille idole, rois et peuples confondus, au prix sombre des écus, dans cette une fan de fan, autour de son piédestal, autour de son piédestal. Et Satan conduit le bal, et Satan conduit le bal, conduit le bal. Conduit le bal, l'Audor est vainqueur de Dieu, dans sa gloire dérisoire, dans sa gloire dérisoire. Aber sein Sekt, ein Schild aux cieux, il contemporains étranges à ses pieds le genre humain, serrant la fer en main, dans le sang et dans la fange. Au brille l'ardent métal, au brille l'ardent métal. Il s'attend conduit le bal, conduit la balle, il s'attend conduit le bal, conduit la balle. Conduit la balle.
Bryn, thank you so much. Now, of course, Wynne Evans was the principal tenor at the Welsh National Opera and, of course, is one of our favourites at Covent Garden. He has made so many roles his own, including Duca in Rigoletto, Rodolfo in La Bohème, and Alfredo in La Traviata. He is, of course, also the incomparable actor in those ads that you will all know about, the Go Compare adverts, where he plays Gio Compario. I would argue that he has probably done more to popularise opera in this country than even FIFA in the World Cup. Do you remember? Back in the 1990s. Well, Wynne has chosen for us tonight Ivor Novello's My Life Belongs to You to start with. Wynne, why?
I've gone for a Welsh composer that people may not know is Welsh. Ivor Novello, the name kind of gives it away if you remember the steam engine. But Ivor Novello was born in Cardiff, was a great matinee idol in the, just after the turn of the century, wrote loads of songs, starred in his own films, a bit like me in the Go Compare adverts, you write it, you sing it, you act in it. And just probably one of the greatest composers of melodies. So, yeah.
Over to you.
When first we met, I heard a voice within. The scene is set, and he's the heroine. I raised my eyes, my breath was taken by that sweet surprise. Your heart is mine, my Lord divine. My dreams, my songs, all that I do. No moon, no morning star can shine. No happiness is mine without you near me. When years have passed into the shade, you're here, my last serenade, forever echoing on your, no matter where I go, your listening heart will know my life belongs to you. And now at last the skies are fine again, the years have passed, and you are mine again. Night after night I've dreamed of capturing that sweet delight. Your heart is mine, my Lord divine. My dreams, my songs, all that I do. No more morning star can shine. No happiness is mine without you near me. Forever echoing on and no matter where I go, your listening heart will know my life belongs to you.
Wynne, thank you so much. Now, over from the sublime music to what will quite frankly be the ridiculousness of my questions. Let's start, I think, with you, Bryn. I mentioned, didn't I, that the last time I saw you, you were clad in skin-tight, hot pink leather from top to toe. Tell me, is that work or simply pleasure?
I think we'd make a good duet, wouldn't we?
I think we might.
We are wearing today. Yeah, that was the costume that I have for the Puccini work of Gianni Schicchi. There's a connection. We're doing Aleko also by Rachmaninoff, and he enters the stage as Aleko on a bicycle, whereas Gianni Schicchi comes with a helmet and clad in his overalls, motorbike, most probably Ducati or something like that. But I've always wanted, being a farmer's son, to have a motorbike. But my parents always said, absolutely no way. And funny enough, my brother's son now has a motorbike business on the farm. A very successful business where quad bikes and machinery is constant stream of them coming to the farm.
Brilliant.
So yes, the things we do on the stage, as I just mentioned, sequin dress for Faust, and the old leathers for Gianni Schicchi.
Well, talking about the things you do for art, Wynne, what are the kinds of outlandish things, perhaps, that you've been asked to do in the past in order to bring a character to life?
I remember once doing Rigoletto, and Bryn will bear me out on this one. Sometimes directors and conductors don't have the same vision for a piece, and so rehearsals can become quite fraught, can't they, sometimes? Because, you know, it is the competition of the great maestro. And I remember this one director, who shall remain nameless, we were doing Rigoletto, and he couldn't be in the rehearsal room at the same time as the conductor. So he would do the mornings, or the other way around. He would do the mornings, and the conductor would do the afternoons. And he came in one day, and he goes, "Oh, I have this brilliant idea. I've been watching the television in my hotel. I've been watching the television, and I've seen this perfect man for you." And like, as a tenor, you always want to play the romantic lead, you know, looking fabulous on stage. And I mean, that passed me by, but this was my one opportunity. And he goes, "I have seen this television program, and I want you to dress up exactly as the character." I thought, this is going to be brilliant. This might be, you know, Bergerac, or it could be anything. And I said, "What's the name of the television show?" And he goes, "Postman Pat." And so in Act 2 Rigoletto, he dressed me up, full blue suit, the hat, a satchel. I looked exactly like Postman Pat. It was... was that.
Well, listen, Bryn, you haven't got away with it, because actually we were talking about Grange Park Opera, and the founder, Wasfi Carney, asked me to ask you this very specific question, which made me think that perhaps she had asked you to do the following thing. She said, "You must be sure to ask Bryn what the most ludicrous thing is he's ever been asked to do on stage."
Does she have something in mind? Because these things kind of pass me by. I've never done anything stupid, apart from, you know, malfunctions in your costumes and stuff like this. Once I was doing a role in the ring cycle in Das Rheingold in Chicago, and I had a ball and chain as Donna, and the ball flew into the orchestra. Thankfully, it was a very light ball, and Zubin Mehta was conducting, was kind of giggling in the middle of it. But now nothing really's happened to me.
But I mean, in this kind of attempt to try and broaden opera and make it more exciting and to jazz it up, some pretty crazy stuff does go on. I mean, I'm not going to name names either, but I do remember going to an opera performance that the curtains opened and the first thing the audience saw were naked, writhing bodies, literal full frontal nudity as the opening scene, and I tell you, I didn't know where to look. Do you think that this kind of thing actually does help to popularise or broaden the spectrum of who might come to opera?
Yeah, I feel quite passionately about this. My brother runs Bryn knows my brother. He's a singer as well, and he runs a project where they can teach the entire curriculum through opera. Because you think about it, you've got everything. You've got history, you've got geography, you've got languages, music, and music is maths, really. It breaks down into, 4 beats in a bar and how many semi-quavers, how many quavers. So I feel, unless you can really relate to the community where you're based, that should be your first port of call. So, Welsh National Opera, for example, is based in the Bay in Cardiff, and Grange Park, is based, in the south of England. And you must relate to the areas you're in first, and then reach out, I think, But you're right. I mean, the Go Compare advert. It used to be when I was younger, it was like, can you sing the opera La World Cup 1990? Now people do, sing that advert at me quite a lot, I have to say.
Of course, the converse of mishaps, I suppose, are all of the accolades and encouragement and admiration that you get all of the time. Bryn, for example, of course, you were invited by the King himself to sing at his coronation. How do you both keep your feet on the ground, I suppose?
Well, if I can talk a little bit about the then Prince of Wales, of course, he was connected to so many institutions that we are involved with, and we were asked to do evenings that will, be there to support, like the Welsh College of Music and Drama, like the Welsh National Opera, the Royal Opera House Covent Garden, and the then Prince of Wales would say, "Mummy's given me her room once again to help people." So maybe 70 organizations that we were involved in. So when I get asked to sing in his coronation, it's the least I can do for the work that he's done for whatever I'm connected with in the operatic world or as a classical musician. But that 1 minute and 40 seconds was really, really nerve tingling. 3 days of rehearsals, of course, and you'd see the pomp and circumstance, and it was rather magnificent. But he had commissioned 8 new pieces for that ceremony. Again, he's a leader in classical music. I think one of the favorite evenings that I ever had was in Windsor Castle, where he dug out letters that was written between Wagner and Queen Victoria.
Really?
And then he chose the sections from different Wagner operas to be performed as well. And yes, I did sing in that concert in Windsor the day after. It was 3 words in Welsh, which was very special for me. It's just 3 words. It was the Kyrie. And Paul Miller, who wrote the piece, in that very short instance of 2 pages, he had the melodies and harmonies of Wales, the folk tunes. He could hear it. It started with a drone in the organ that I had to really concentrate to pitch my note perfectly at that particular given moment. And all these magnificent musicians had already performed. Pretty Ende had sung beautifully in her gorgeous yellow dress. And there we were left alone, just to concentrate and do what we do best, I guess. Nerves wasn't there, but of course palpitations were there. Then in Windsor it was totally different. Lionel Richie and all these magnificent pop artists, rock singers, but all also connected with giving something to Prince Charles. Andrea Bocelli has helped a lot with his organizations, as he has with Bocelli's foundation. So it's bordeggiare, they say in Italian. It's
weaving.
We'll help you and scratch your back. You can scratch my back.
It's funny. I'm sure Bryn has as well. he used to have a place in Wales called Llwyn Wermod, and we used to go down there quite a lot, you know, and maybe sit and have dinner and then sing, and he knows a lot about music, to be fair.
So it's
doesn't
like
he?
being amongst friends. You said something very interesting there. You said it was nerve tingling. Do you two still get nervous when you perform?
I think I do more now because I'm broadcasting mainly now, you know, or I'm, you know, speaking for a living as opposed to singing for a living. So when I get the voice out now, it's like getting it out of a garage, and you have to make sure it's had the old MOT before you're allowed to take it on the road. So it's like, I find it a bit, not more nerve-wracking. I do find, though, a place of calm on the stage as well, do you? Because you're like, this is what I trained to do. So it's like, you know, there's no point a surgeon going into theatre and being really nervous while he's doing open heart surgery. Of course, there's adrenaline, but you've got to be in control of that at the same time.
I think for myself, in 1989 in the Cardiff Singer of the World, that's the most nervous I've ever been on the stage. And it stands you in good stead for then singing to conductors to try and get work. I did 40 auditions and I got 2 jobs out of those 40 auditions.
But Cardiff Singer is on its own, though, because you are basically auditioning for every opera house in the world in one go.
Yes, you are, but that doesn't mean that you're given that green ticket to go and work there immediately. You have to go to those houses to audition. Whereas the winner, Dmitry Chворostovsky, of course, the amazing Dmitry, he just flew to, you know, principal roles, to concerts all over the world.
You've done all right. You mustn't put yourself down like that, Bryn.
I think that's the thing, though, Wynne, that I had to go through those auditions, and that helped me to not go too quickly. Because I was straight out of the Guildhall School of Music and Drama, like you were. Needing to learn a little bit more about the profession, not the singing part, but how to be with people and how to be with colleagues and the people that work in these opera houses, concert halls. It's even more important to be invited back.
That's true.
Well, I'm going to invite you back to have more of a chat shortly. But first, Bryn, another song from you this time, Fiddler on the Roof.
Yes, I have to thank Waspikani, and she's given us such wonderful opportunities. Yes, I sang Tevier for the first time. No mean feat when we had Chaim Topol sitting in the audience for the first night, which was such a thrill for me because I'd watched this movie every Christmas. Every Christmas. It's just magnificent to get the chance to perform it. And hopefully when I'm 60 in a couple of years, I will reprise this role and maybe sing it. Who knows, all over the world.
Dear God, you made many, 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 many rich people. I realize, of course, it's no shame to be poor, but it's no great honor either. So what would have been so terrible if I had a small fortune, if I were a rich man? All day long I'd biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. If I were a biddy rich, idle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with the real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up, and one even longer coming down, and one more going nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yard with chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can, and each loud will land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Rig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dum. If I were a biddy rich, idle diddle idle man, I'd see my wife, my gold, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin, supervising meals to her heart's delight. I see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock, with a happy mood she's in, screaming at the servants day and night. If I were rich, I'd have the time that I lack to sit in the synagogue and pray. Maybe have a seat by the eastern wall, and I'd discuss the holy books with a learned man 7 hours every day. This would be the sweetest thing of all. If I were a rich man, all day long I'd biddy bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dig-a-dum. Lord, who made the lion and the lamb, you decreed I should be what I am. Would it spoil some vast eternal plan if I were a wealthy man? Baby!
Absolutely incredible. Bryn, you mentioned singing this at Grange Park Opera, and that, of course, is the first time I met you, and also the force of nature that is Wasfi Khani, the person who founded Grange Park. And she is an incredible woman, I have to say. What she's creating there, as far as I can see, is a place to sustain and grow opera, to diversify it, but also to give back to the community. How would you describe her and the work that she's doing there?
Well, first of all, I'd have to say that I'm afraid of Wasfi, and that's a good thing. Because in an international opera house, the first thing you need to notice that that person who walks in, that runs this place, is very serious about what she does. She wouldn't have done this had it not been for the groundwork that she's done, you know, from taking opera companies into prisons and performing with the inmates. I've seen that firsthand. And Wasfi's choruses, I've got to say, they're young singers coming out of colleges in Britain, and they are magnificent. I sometimes in the rehearsals go very close to them to hear their voices during the run-throughs or whatever, and I've got to say, this year's chorus is just magnificent. And she has plans, of course. I think she has plans to have something for young singers as well. And of course, that needs funding. Everything is about funding these days, as we've seen in the last 6 months here in Britain. But yes, I'm a great fan, and long may it continue. And yes, it's her home, it's her house. She invites glorious singers there, and yes, you might get up and talk to people before the operas, which is totally different to what you might encounter when you're on the operatic road, but that's her passion, and I take my cap off. Lots of feathers.
And when you are, of course, still a very young man, but it's not long for you to cast your mind back to think about what it was like when you were starting out in opera. Given the squeeze on funding that we are seeing, do you think it is now easier or harder for somebody who is a young person perhaps watching this to make it in the world of opera? What do you think?
Well, you know, I'm never going to be in Bryn's league, and, you know, we bow down before Bryn, but I'm on the board of Grange Park as well, so I'm, faced with the headache of having Wasfi as a kind of boss. I suppose, well, I don't know what she is. I don't know who the boss is there really sometimes. But she's an inspiring woman, as Bryn said. And my own mother saved the theatre from demolition. And I see a lot of my own mother in Wasfi. And, Bryn knew my mother. And you need people to get up and do it. And I think it's harder for opera singers now. It's way harder for opera singers now. There's opera companies that were doing 9, 12 productions a year, now only doing 3. And of course, that's, a quarter, a 16th of the cast that you're going to need. So you can't take a chance on young singers where you might have put a young singer into a role before. Now you're going to go for more established names. And I think it's going to be very difficult moving forward. And I don't know whether we have to adopt the American system in this country, where we look to businesses and private benefactors to fund opera. I don't quite know what the future is.
Given your mother was so closely associated with opera, do you think that gave you a kind of automatic introduction into film? Was it your destiny, your fate to become an opera singer, or was it an active choice?
I think it was a choice, but it was probably an enforced choice. But it's like it's our choice to be here today, but it's not our choice at all, is it really?
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
But it was one of those things, and it was a great grounding to go to the Guildhall. I was just behind Bryn at the Guildhall, and it was a great grounding, to have a theatre that you could play in, that you could do stuff in, it was a bit like Mickey Rooney, in all those Hollywood films, and you go, I'll get a theatre, we'll get some lights, we'll put on a show. It was just like that in our house. And so I love what's happening at the Grange, and I love how the fact in lockdown, we've got some brilliant people working there as well, like Joanna Lumley, who, the first question I remember Joe asked at a board meeting is, in lockdown, are all the performers getting paid? Are all the backstage people getting paid? Are all the orchestra getting paid? And that was our main priority. And I know both Bryn and myself did a concert from home when we couldn't leave the house to try and raise money for just that kind of thing. And that's the ethos that I really like about the place.
I also like the emerging picture that there are these incredibly strong women that are driving opera forward and looking after it. Talking of mothers, Bryn, I hear that your mum owned a movie theatre and had some kind of connection to Steven Spielberg. She checks notes.
It was my mother.
Your mother. Well, that's Waspy's fault. Tell me about that.
So last year, or the year before last, Sky decided to make a movie about my mother's life, if you like. It's called Save the Cinema, and it's got Samantha Morton in it, Tom Felton, Sir Jonathan Price. I gotta say about this, every time I talk about Bryn at home, right, because my son's a cameraman, he always goes, Sir Bryn. He says, you've not reached that status yet, Dad. So you're always referred to in our house by in the proper terms, okay, Bryn? Okay. So, and so she decided, in order to pay, a bit like the dilemma is today, in order to pay for live theatre, they had to put on cinema, to make money for the live theatre. So one of the films that they wanted to put on was Jurassic Park. And they'd been promised this film, and then the copy was taken away. So my mother was furious, and she was like, right, I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to go and see the mayor. Now, the mayor of Carmarthen was a postman, and she went to see him and said, what are we going to do? He said, well, we've got to ring Steven Spielberg, haven't we? He's the only bloke that's going to sort this out for us. So they rang Spielberg's office in America, and of course the mayor in the States is a massive thing. And within moments, Spielberg had been found, and he was on the phone, and my mother told him the story of the theatre. And he said, I'll send my own copy over for you. And so he sent his own copy of the film, and he said, not only can you have it on the first day release, you can have it for the premiere the day before. So in one hand, the late Princess of Wales, Diana, was watching it in Leicester Square for, I think it was £300 a ticket. And then in Carmarthen, you were watching it for £2.50 with free
Yeah.
popcorn.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Thank you for that story. Now, it's actually your turn next. Back up on your feet to the microphone. As according to my notes here, Wynne, you're about to sing us Be My Love by Nicholas Brodsky.
Yeah, I had to include a bit of Lanza. My favourite singer, absolute favourite singer of all time. Again, a matinee idol. Famous for films like, well, he wasn't in it, but he was the voice of the student Prince. And singing songs like, I'll Walk With God, Be My Love. All those kind of classics that you remember from that time. And we only had one record when I was a kid at home, one classical record. And it was Mario Lanza at Christmas. And it was a real Hollywood style. So we three kings would have like, and Caspar spoke, gold is mine. And he had this real rich kind of American accent in the background, So you'd walk past our house in July and I'd have on Mario Lanza at Christmas. So this isn't a Christmas song, but this is one of his classics.
Well, over to you.
Be my love, for no one else can end this yearning, this need that you and you alone create. Just fill my arms the way you filled my dreams, the dreams that you inspire with every sweet desire. Be my love, and with your kisses set me burning. One kiss is all I need to seal my fate, and hand in hand we'll find love's promised land. There'll be no one but you for me eternally, if you will be my love. Be my love, and with your kisses set me burning. One kiss is all I need to seal my fate, and hand in hand we'll find love's promised land. There'll be no one but you for me eternally, if you will be my love.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. Bryn, you're next.
Yeah, follow that.
Follow that. Well, you're going to try with Novello, aren't you? I can give you Starlight.
Yes,
Why
this,
that
this
one?
young man was born on Cowbridge Road East in Cardiff. And as Wynne already said, he was a film writer. He wrote tremendous melodies. Remember Gosford Park, the film? He was there playing all his songs. So this one is I Can Give You the Starlight. And coming from Wales, of course, I can give you mountains as well.
I can give you the starlight, love unchanging and true. I can give you the ocean, deep and tender devotion. I can give you the mountains, pearls of shimmering blue. Call and I shall be all you ask of me. Music in spring, flowers for a king. All these I bring to you. When I was young, my foolish fancies used to make a great mistake. But now a little love, a little living has changed my ways and taught me and brought me the joy of giving. I can give you the starlight, love unchanging and true. I can give you the ocean deep and tender devotion. I can give you the mountains, pearls of shimmering blue. Call and I shall be all you ask of me. Music in spring, flowers for a king. All of these I bring to you.
Oh, Bryn, honestly, I'm so lucky. I've heard you sing that a few times live, and every single time I just end up in tears. So thank you. It's such an honour to be in a small room with you. Oh, let me just gather myself together. Do you know, the fun is over because the interrogation by the Telegraph subscribers now begins. That isn't enough to get me to dry my eyes. I don't know what will. Ready? Right. We've had actually an absolute flood of questions for you. And I want to start with this one from Barbara because it's something that both of you have touched on, I think, in various ways through the conversation. Barbara asks, how much has your Welsh identity shaped your belief in your voice and your chosen career?
Well, easily answered. I've always been described anyway as the Welsh-based baritone Bryn Terfel, so my name comes last and Wales comes first. But undoubtedly, through the Eisteddfod, where we competed very young, people were adjudicating us, so our performances had to be of a certain caliber, singing in tune, knowing about the poetry, and giving a performance that might win or you might lose. But if at first you can't win, of course you try again. You pick yourself up, dust yourself down, because in Wales there's an Eisteddfod in every weekend, isn't there?
What year did you win the Earth?
Oh, when I was just about to leave for the Guildhall.
Yeah. Because I remember
87.
Yeah, I got it in 1990 and your name was 3 above me. And I remember thinking, Bryn Terfel won this. So there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So it's opportunity as well, isn't it? In Wales, there's loads of opportunity to sing. And so it's not made...
You mean informally as well as formally?
Yeah, it's not made to be one of those weird things to do, you know. Everybody sings. So it's not a strange thing to be a singer.
It's interesting because obviously I grew up in England, and I always feel that with men, outside the space of, I don't know, a rugby mat or a football mat, it isn't conventional for men to sing just to themselves or to their families or with their families. Would you agree with that? Can you spot the sort of national differences? Perhaps I'm mistaken.
I think so. I think I sang a lot.
Yeah, but you can hear singing in every environment, can't you, really? You can't just stipulate Wales as... Well, we do love to say that Wales is the land of song, but go to Sweden, go to Finland. These amazing low voices is just outstanding. But
Although, when we were at the Guildhall School of Music, there was that many Welsh singers that we always used to win the tug of war competition because there was so many. There was so many of us when it was Rag Week.
Tells you exactly where the power lays.
thanks, Barbara. Yeah, we're very proud of our heritage, and yes, we wouldn't be here without what Wales would have given us. So we're maybe losing our National Opera Company. We're losing the youth days in the Royal Welsh College of Music. What's next? Is the Earl going to go? Is the Eisteddfod going to go? I think Wynne is right. We might have to really consider having, wealthy sponsors come and help us along on our journey now.
This question from Lucy. Whose music, historic or contemporary, would you most like to perform that you've not yet, and why?
I know whose music I don't want to perform, and I have done it a couple of times, and I never want to do it ever again. Freddie Mercury.
Oh, really?
Because, I don't know if you've ever
was
done
here.
it. They do these symphonic Queen concerts where they kind of get an opera singer out to do... It was so high. His voice was so high, it's painful to sing. So that's one person I wouldn't want to do. I don't know whose music you want to sing.
I wouldn't sing any Elvis Presley songs because
Really?
I revered him so much, and why even attempt to sing an Elvis song?
If you can't make it better, don't do it.
Yeah, yeah.
From that to a question from Robert. Have you a favourite opera or piece that you enjoy performing above all others?
It changes as you get older, I think. And I think singing becomes more difficult as you get older as well. I mean, whether you haven't got that confidence of a young person anymore that you kind of go, well, I can sing anything. Do you think?
Obviously, through one's career, you go through different stages. Like the youth of 12 years in the beginning of one's career, it's Mozart, Rossini, Donizetti. So they're fun operas for your colleagues as well. So you go constantly going out for drinks and meals and to the theatre. And then the next decade comes, which is Wagnerian for me, and that's, you lock yourself in at home, you stay in, you're learning words all the time, constantly. But I've liked, as Wynne has so many strings to his bow, I've liked to have the work of radio, television, and the concert work and the opera work. So, but yeah, Grange Park at the moment, I'm doing 2 operas. One I've never done before. It's written by a very, very young Rachmaninoff, Aleko. And there are some beautiful melodies in this piece that when you hear it with the orchestra, it's just spellbinding. Something new is always exciting. And going back to one of my favourite roles, Janis Kiki as well, very humorous, very cheeky. So,
Do you think you're going to get to a point where you're going to say, because I remember Gwyn Howell said this to me once, he said, right, that's it, no more new operas, that's it, I'm not learning, I'm just going to do the ones I've done all my life now, and I'm not... Are you going to do that, do you think?
I could understand that with Gwyn, but Gwyn went through the English National Opera, through Welsh National Opera, through Covent Garden. He had an abundance of operas, and like Luciano Pavarotti, how many operas would he have? 7?
Yeah.
7?
Oh, no, with
Pavarotti
sang.
nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I am getting a little bit tired of
learning music, because you just sit at the piano like this, don't you? It is so boring learning an opera.
Well, before you get too tired of life, this rather fantastic question from Alison. What would you sing if you were to sing at the other's funeral?
Good question.
Unusual question, I may
I'm
suggest.
going to just have all my own music played so I can get one last bit of PRS. That's what I don't know what you're going to do.
Okay. No, I'm singing in your...
Oh, you're singing mine, right? If I had to sing yours, have to be something Welsh, right?
Don't know? Yeah.
Or would I just do something to annoy you? Something really high and like that. I don't know. Probably some Novello or some. The piece we're going to finish with today is probably quite a nice piece.
That's a nice one, yeah. That's if I would sing at your funeral, I would definitely start with All Through the Night, and then I'd go segue into or when the Saints go marching in
For Tottenham.
Go on.
Come on, you Spurs.
On that note, It brings the evening pretty much to a conclusion. So it leaves me only to say thank you to, of course, Bryn and Wynne, but also to Grange Park Opera, who made this evening possible. If you'd like to buy tickets for their season, they are still available. It begins on the 6th of June and runs all the way through to July the 14th. To all of you Telegraph subscribers, thank you very much indeed for, of course, joining us. And remember, keep an eye on the Telegraph Extra website for more subscriber exclusive offers, events and competitions. So from me, it's good night. But in the true tradition of opera, just one final encore. Over to you.
We're going to finish our warbling today with a beautiful song written by Robert Arwyn and the words written by Hywel Gwynfryn. It's called Anfonaf Angel, Guardian Angel, and we all need a guardian angel together. This song was conceived with problems with mental health and wanting to have somebody there to hold you tight and to love you and protect you. Guardian angel.
I lie awake alone as night is falling. I listen and it's clear I hear you calling. Don't be afraid, I love you. I'll guard you and protect you and hold you gently with my loving arms. A guardian angel keeping watch till morning. A guardian angel with undying love. I'm safe with you to guide me. I'll rest with you beside me. My guardian angel from above.
Sometimes I feel the world is unforgiving, a daily battle just to go on living. But when all hope is fading, an angel there descending, and dawn is breaking, full of hope once more. A guardian angel keeping watch till morning. A guardian angel with undying love. I'm safe with you to guide me. I'll rest with you beside you. My guardian angel from above.
You are my angel, my strength and protector. You're the light in the darkness. In the storm, you're the stillness. You are my angel, my strength and defender. I will remember how you changed my life. A guardian angel keeping watch till morning. A guardian angel with undying love. I'm safe with you to guide me. I'll rest with you beside me. My guardian angel from above. A guardian angel keeping watch till morning. A guardian angel with undying love. I'm safe with you to guide me. I'll rest with you beside me.